Hello everybody, new video here. This is a new channel, new thing I'm going to be trying out called Stretchmark Wrestling. That's the name I myself would have taken on if I were ever to pursue a career, doing this. Now, we're going to look tonight at WWE Summerslam. I want to apologize in advance, this isn't going to be the highest quality thing. Anyone who's familiar with me knows that I care a lot about the quality of things. I like things to look and present well. But I find it very important for me to get a head start on this channel in particular. I very much want to do this. I have a passion to do it, and even if I don't have, my editor in the next room right now, I'd still like to take the opportunity to put stuff out there to get practice kind of going over wrestling stuff. And yeah, so that's what we're going to do here tonight. We're going to go over what was I'd say honest to God, pretty successful night one of WWE SummerSlam. There's a lot to be said in terms of outside the ring stuff, kind of going into this. You can talk about, God, if you really want to, you can talk about political stuff, which for some reason WWE, like top guys, Triple H, like to do big PR runs that might be detrimental to the company, like the weekend of pay-per-views. It happened with WrestleMania too, where it's like, why are you going out on a limb? Whatever politics you might have, you might hold yourself, why are you publicizing it the weekend of? And that also trickles into the show a little bit here, which we may or may not touch on. We'll see. You could talk about night one and night two of SummerSlam. And do we really need to do that? Do we really need to? And there were times throughout this show where the pacing, would indicate you really don't have to split up these shows. You can really just make one big great show. So I have pulled up here, I have a little recap from CBS Sports. If you're wondering why CBS Sports, this is very funny. It was WrestleMania 30. WrestleMania 30, everyone's familiar. And The Undertaker had lost to Brock Lesnar. I was at Cedar Point with my family. And my dad wasn't exactly going to take, hey, you need to sit your ass down and watch wrestling instead of coming out to this family thing. Like, that's bullshit. So I was at Cedar Point, and I remember getting home and just looking up results for WrestleMania, seeing what had happened, and scrolling. Oh, no. And I have just that core memory. CBS Sports, I don't know if they're necessarily the best for wrestling coverage. I don't know how seriously they take all of it. But because of that core memory that I got in there, that's why I use them. And then we got Cage Match, which is pretty much self-explanatory. It is Wikipedia for wrestling, more so, actually. I mean, it's a historical archive. It's a very cool website. I have my gripes with it, but let's go through the card. Let's talk about what worked, what didn't work, what I felt could have been rearranged, some notable moments throughout some of these matches. So let's talk about the opening tag team match. How worn out are you on the Tribal Chief? How? Because I'm not over it. I'm not someone that I don't think it's gotten stale, and I especially think the sparing use of Roman Reigns has been beneficial long term. In the same breath, I watch his matches and there's just this expectation that things might go a little differently this time, and they'll feel very samey. Right, and that's why I was, honest to God, excited for the prospect of him teaming with Jay in this match and going against Breaker and Bronson, because that's something different. It feels a little different. Roman's done matches with Jay a million times before, but it felt like the dynamics of this match, two big powerhouses versus Roman, who's a powerhouse in and of himself, and Jay, who is this technical high flyer, like all these things rolled into one. It felt like there could have been a lot more excitement in this match than it there ended up being, and that's not to say anything negative about this match. That's not to take anything away from it. I think it was fine. I think it worked. But I don't think, given the totality of this show and given the main event, which we will get to, I don't think the right decision was made in having Jay and Roman go over. I don't really think... I think there's a chance that you're missing out on a lot of cool storyline with that. But at the same time, I don't know that Bronson and Breaker are necessarily characters that need to prove themselves to the audience at this point. I think they can take a loss and still come out Monday night, tear shit up, look like complete and total badasses, and be relevant. And this is something that I worried about later on the card, and we'll talk about that, where it felt like we have really cool badass talent that might be kind of minimized by something, and all of that is overthinking. All of that is really, you're getting into your head too much about it, I think, and what you really got to worry about is, was this an entertaining match? I think it was. I think it was fine. This borders on a 2.5 stars for me, a 2.5 to a 3. It was fine, if not slightly above average. I thought it was a good time. I thought it might have went a little long considering what it was, and the lack of really kind of memorable spots throughout. It pacing-wise, it was a long way to open a show. It felt like Roman Reigns matches sometimes do, where they're very procedural, and I think they could have cut. Let's click over to Cage Match. Cage Match will show me what. Yeah, oh man, a 21-minute match. So I wasn't wrong in it feeling long. It was a longer match. Obviously, the semantics of it, like when you're in the ring, the way it works out when you're actually in the ring, very hard to just say, oh, wait, okay, let's just cut 4 minutes off right now. If I'm them, hindsight's 20/20. If you can do it, let's go down the card. Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, over the Judgment Day. Get a pretty good win. A lot of people were curious if there might be some miscommunication between Alexa and Charlotte that might blow up, might, cause a rift between them, create a feud. Very glad that's not the direction that was taken. What has really worked out here is something that people really like in wrestling, is its stories about friendship. It's an underrated aspect. It's not something that I think is utilized enough. I think a lot of times people are sort of tag teamed up, and then it's like, oh yeah, they're buddies. They've been buddies for how long? And they're going to go take on the world together. And yeah, that works. But to see people who started a place of resentment or angst or just genuine distrust of one another, and to have them grow and to have that amalgamate into something that you can tangibly feel emotionally, something that you can become connected to, I thought it was really cool, really well done, and honest to God, a happy little accident. There's not a universe you could have convinced me that this was on the bulletin board. Like, this wasn't planned out. This was not. So this was a happy little accident, and they played it perfectly, I really think. In terms of the match, fine. It got the job done. The crowd was into it, and that matters a whole hell of a lot. This was a decent little romp, and the pop at the end for, Charlotte and Alexa Bliss, yeah. It worked. The crowd was clearly into it. Your audience clearly connected to it. It worked. So, okay. This isn't going to be a hot take. The wrong guy won in terms of Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross. I am of the opinion maybe that Sammy is still such a baby, or he's a red hot baby face still to this moment. That has been continuous since the build to WrestleMania 39, right? I think, like, I might be a little mistaken. It might be whatever. But Sammy is a white hot babyface, and I think when you have someone that the crowd just they really, 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 really like they really like Sammy, and they have every right to. Whoa, there's no real incentive to turn them heel, and if you're gonna tease it, you better do it. It's just this was a clusterfuck. This feels like there's a million things going on at once. I'm incredibly intrigued by Karrion Kross and everything that he's brought up to Sammy and the way he's trying to manipulate Sammy's perception of events, right? I think it's fascinating. I think it's a good characterization. I think it's a good direction for them to have taken Karrion Kross. I don't know if Sammy was the guy to do that with, especially when it really didn't seem like there was any nuance to this story throughout. And the absolute most interesting thing they could have done would have been for Karrion Kross to go over. Apparently, Karrion Kross's contract situation might be a little up in the air. I think his contract expires tonight. So maybe they didn't want to give him the win without his name on the dotted line, whatever. But this was a story that I don't feel had a good resolution. And the match in and of itself, these guys something stylistically was wrong. It was rough. This is like a pay-per-view worst match of the year contender. This was rough. I'm not a fan of the blow off to this angle. I don't think it did Sammy too many favors, if we're being honest. And yeah, I don't think I'm a fan of this one. So, speaking of the wrong person going over, I think Jade Cargill should have beat Tiffany Stratton. I think this was a weird match where the audience, it didn't feel 50-50 in the way that you want it to. This wasn't Hogan versus The Rock, where it's let's go Hogan, let's go. That's not what this was. This felt like the crowd didn't know who to cheer for. And I think the crowd, if you would have crowned Jade at the end, if you would have given Jade the pin, would have come around to giving her a big pop and this is something that I don't like when it happens in wrestling. You get a feud and you feel like you're getting the resolution to it at this SummerSlam. This will not be the last match for this championship between Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton. It won't be, because the way Jade lost this match was, so what happened is she had Tiffany rolled up near to the ropes, and she pulls so far back on her pin that Tiffany's legs go back and get the rope break, right? And so it's a mistake, it's a miscue, and that ends up costing her the match in the long run. The long run, I say, as I'm looking at it, it's a 7-minute match. Jade doesn't do long matches. It's not, the most definitive moveset in the world, but she is presented very, very well. She is presented at that main event championship level. When she was in AEW, a lot of people, myself included, said that she reminded them, or myself, a lot of Goldberg, and just the aura and this sensation that there is this unbeatable Goliath, and Jade gives off that same energy. And what I think happened here was this is a prelude for a larger feud to come where Jade probably gets this belt. The problem with it, in my perception, is going into this, there was no idea that this was going to be a longer term thing. There was no idea. You thought you were getting a resolution here, and what you got felt very inconclusive, to say the least, right? So going into the tag team match, this was a surprise for me. This was, I enjoyed this a hell of a lot more than I thought it would. This was something where the slower pace really actually benefited it. So, these final 3 matches, I want to really get into actually the nitty gritty talking about the match itself. So, it's Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul as the bad guys against Jelly Roll, the country singer, and Randall Orton. Probably the greatest in terms of GOAT, whatever status, guy they have in the company. 17 minutes, 5 seconds. So what they did here that was brilliant, that was very smart, that was very well thought out, was they understood that people would want to see both these guys kind of. What worked out really well that I don't think anyone could have really anticipated, the crowd was into Jelly Roll. The crowd really resonated with this guy, really liked this guy. Okay, sure, hell yeah, we'll ride with it. So Jelly Roll's in the ring for a while, and let me get this off my chest. Jelly Roll is not good at this. He's bad at this. Let's just call a spade. He needed help with every single, and that's fine. That's fine. Celebrity matches happen. They happen. I wish they wouldn't, but they do, and they generate buzz and money. And you know what? The Jimmy Kimmel thing with Jelly Roll was fucking cool. It was fucking neat. Credit where credit's due. I don't think it presented itself well, the feud on WWE TV, but the feud in terms of when they went to Jimmy Kimmel, that was a great segment. That is something that the wrestling historians are going to look back on. And it sounds insane to say, right? So Jelly Roll's in there for a while, so the crowd is anticipating this tag to Randy. It's the hottest tag up until this point tonight. The crowd wants Randy in. Not because I don't think they pity Jelly Roll. I don't think they don't want to see Jelly Roll. They did the Cody Rhodes. I messed it up. But they did Jelly Roll. The whole stadium. The whole stadium was doing the European soccer chant for Jelly Roll. They like this guy. So anyways, he gets the tag to Randy. It's a hot tag. It's a good tag. Bunch of shenanigans ensue for a while until Randy's in the ring for a while, and a lot happens. They end up outside the apron. They end up on the floor. Jelly Roll ends up on the announce table. Logan Paul hits one of the most beautiful God, I hate to give him any credit for anything he ever done. One of the most beautiful splashes I've ever seen. I mean, perfection, and he got up there. I mean, he probably, if I had to guess, he got up there. He comes crashing, cascading through Jelly Roll. Jelly Roll sells this like his puppy just died. That's how he looks. That's how he's carrying himself. He is walking around like mourning. He has his selling face is something, man. But it kind of works because he's a normal guy doing this for the first time, and that's supposed to be a very painful thing he just endured. And so he's selling it like he just watched somebody shoot a puppy in front of him. Like he is. And a little bit of a scary moment here where Logan seemed to be really rattled after his jump here. He made sure he was the medical team was all kind of swarming around Jelly Roll, and Logan was off to the side, kind of clutching his knee, his thigh a little bit, and Michael Cole was next to him announcing, calling the match, and Logan goes up to Michael Cole's hand and squeezes him, which in WWE, that's the signal. Say you take a nasty bump, the ref goes over to you and they put your hand like this. You will see it a lot throughout the course of a match, and if you give the ref a squeeze, it means you're hurt. And Logan, of his own accord, went up, reached for Michael Cole's hand, gave it a good squeeze. A little bit of a scary moment there. A little bit, and I'm not the biggest Logan Paul guy, but you hate to see anybody get hurt. Especially after doing something that is genuinely cool. Genuinely, like, a little breathtaking. I hate to give the guy credit. It was cool. So after that, Randy's in the ring for a little while. He's getting tossed around. He's getting beat up by these two guys, right? Excuse me. I drank a beer. So what's really smart about this match is there's a second hot tag. Because Jelly Roll, he's being tended to by the medical staff. He's walking around. He's being hobbled out. He has help. And he looks and he just sees Randy. And he hobbles and he makes his way. And he goes up to the ringside apron right in time for Randy to make a hot tag. Crowds into it. The next couple of moves Jelly Roll is performing look like shit. They don't look good, but the crowd's into it. The crowd's happy. He hits a Michael. I think it was Michael Cole that called it this. It might have been Wade Barrett. It was Wade Barrett who called it this. A belly to jelly suplex, where it didn't even look like he lifted the guy up. I mean, Jelly. But what was fascinating about this one, Jelly Roll ends up taking the pin. He loses. Logan Paul pins Jelly Roll, center of the ring. Huh? I did not see that coming. I did not. I didn't see that coming, and that was pretty good. So finally, squirting into the main event. Alright, so Punk Gunther was good. This was good. This was a good. They were hitting each other stiff. Gunther works stiff a lot of the time. Gunther is known for working stiff. Gunther is known for hitting guys hard. It's him and Sheamus kind of in a league of their own in terms of WWE. This was the hardest hitting Gunther match in a very long time. Gunther drew blood in this one. He gigged himself in this one. You don't see that from him. I don't think anyone's seen that from him his entire reign. And him and Punk, for lack of a better term, put on an absolute slobber knocker. It was great. And it was a much better loss for Gunther to take than I think than he's really taken in a while. He doesn't lose often, but this might be my favorite Gunther loss because it really represents him as someone you have to beat the hell out of to have a chance of, and that's why the Jey Uso thing felt bad. That's why that didn't work, is because it didn't feel like Jey just felled a god. And that's the effect of what happened between Punk and Gunther tonight. It was great. It was absolute slobber knocker. Punk needs 2 GTSs to put Gunther to sleep. Gunther does a perfect sell on the first one. Comes down, knee, boop, and he does a spit take. Boom. And he goes back, and he's... and then Punk gets him up for another one. Pop. That's it. The second one didn't look as good as the first one did, but who fucking cares? Then things get a little dicey. I got a little scared. I got a little nervous. Because Seth Rollins comes out, and you go, oh my... oh my god, he was faking his injury. He's gonna cash in Money in the Bank? Oh my god. Oh. Ooh. Fascinating. Good turn of events. Good storytelling. Great payoff to this year's WrestleMania. Last year's Mania? This year's Mania. Oh no. But great payoff to that beat where Punk keeps McIntyre from holding on to the belt. This is great payoff to that. Seth comes out though, and he's on crutches. He's hobbled, and Heyman's holding the briefcase. And you go, okay. And then commentary starts hamming it up, and commentary goes, and now, Punk, he's got to be on the lookout because eventually Seth Rollins is going to return, and he's going to cash in that Money in the Bank, so eventually, and I go, oh, so they're not going to even try to, pawn the briefcase off to Breaker? They're not going to... Seth's just coming out to remind Punk he has the briefcase, and that's it? That's how you're ending this fucking show? That's how you're... Really? And then Seth throws down the crutches. And I lose my fucking mind. Boy. Fantastic. He throws down the crutches, he takes off his leg thing, and that is that. He makes it, beelines it to the ring. What I really like from Punk here is Punk just starts trying to pound away at him, immediately tries to get him up for a GTS, and Seth's not having any of it. Seth is beating him senseless, right? Seth gets the briefcase, boom, cashes it in. About 5 seconds after the bell ringing, maybe a little bit less than that, Seth hits the stomp. 1, 2, 3. My bad. Fake injury. I thought he was hurt for real. It was a random match on a random episode of WWE TV where he sustained this injury. I thought he was hurt for real. They got me. They worked me. And especially the fake out with commentary telling you, hey, well, he's just letting Punk know that he's gonna cash this in eventually, just for him to take off the crutches and cash it the fuck in now. Good shit. I'm realizing I didn't star rate all the matches tonight. That said, uneven show. A show that felt, when main event time came, it felt like, oh wow, that was quick. That happened quick. And some matches felt long in this show. So, pacing wise, and there were bad matches. I'm not a big fan of the Jade and Tiffany match. I thought it was fine, but I thought it was a Jade Cargill match. She's presented very well, but some of the stuff doesn't look too great. And Karrion and Sammy, not good. Not a good match. One might say a bad match. One might say a half a star match. One might say like one of the worst matches I've sat through in a while. Ooh, that was bad. But that said, all-time ending. This is the peak of Punk in WWE so far. This is his best moment, for sure. Great. This elevated. This was great. This was a great ending. That's all I have to say, necessarily. Uneven show. I was really worried about it. It ended up working out perfectly. I mean, a well-rounded. Yeah, just a really good conclusion. If I have to grade this show, I think I'm gonna go with a B-. I mean, just uneven, some poorly, stuff that I just wasn't really hot on, stuff that I thought was really meandering. And then the last two matches really surprised me. I wasn't expecting to have fun with the Jelly Roll match, but I thought the way they did it was fucking brilliant. And the main event was fantastic with an even better cash-in at the end. Probably, I'll go ahead and say this, the greatest Money in the Bank cash-in ever. the best ever. And yeah, see you guys for night 2. Yeah.